the idea that something could be impossible is completely incoherent. Everywhere you look, if you're really looking, all you will find is will. And when one will is set against another, the stronger one always wins. When an athlete is competing against another athlete, we can watch that and say, the one who is performing better, the one who's winning, he must have practiced more. He must have spent more time in the gym, building his physical strength. And while there's truth in that, it may be that all his training and practice, more importantly than what it did to train his physical body, was what it did to train his will. The so-called laws of science will bend the knee to a powerful will. And not only have I seen that, I think we've all seen that. It's just that most of us won't recognize it. When you see an athlete performing at an incredibly high level, or you see someone come up with some new invention or some piece of art, some piece of music that is just a stroke of pure genius, as far as I'm concerned, that is in complete defiance of the laws of science, the so-called supposed laws of nature. There are no laws to the man with the strongest will. There are only habits of nature that can be used to an end. It's no different than the stories that everyone's heard of a mother picking a vehicle up off of her child after a car accident. There's no scientific reason why that woman should be able to lift that amount of weight, but things like that happen, and they happen relatively frequently in the world, I would argue. Not as frequently as they should, because humans are asleep, effectively dead men walking, living in this false, dead state where everything is constrained by these arbitrary laws in our science textbooks. Everything is just atoms, they say. Although even that narrative is falling apart now with quantum particle physics. The world is not just atoms. The world is infinitely wonderful, mysterious, full of infinite potential. beyond infinite, beyond anything that words can accurately describe. Every person, as far as I'm concerned, or at least some people, clearly, are full of infinite potential. For almost everyone, that potential will be completely unrealized in life. And that's something to consider. Maybe a life well lived is one in which potential was as close to fully realized as possible. But even that seems like trying to measure up against an infinite measuring stick. Was Christ living up to his full potential? Was the Buddha? Certainly more than the rest of us. But, it's just so infinite. In the passage in the Bible that says something like, faith can move mountains, if I'm not misquoting that, it's clear to me that that is true. But I think that what was meant by the word faith is somewhat different from how it's interpreted by modern Christians in that context. For most modern Christians, the term faith has effectively just come to refer to like an opinion. Like you can just say, I believe this, and that counts as real. I think if Jesus ever spoke of faith, he could only have been referencing something like conviction. Because he would be interested in nothing less. I would say this: the man who has conviction can move mountains. Not only can he move mountains, mountains can be created and destroyed. The existence of the mountains will bend to his will. It's hard not to suspect that there is some force acting on people on Earth to try to keep us down, to prevent us from fulfilling our potential. To prevent us from seeing what will actually is, what the nature of existence is. There is no separation between will and reality in the end. There's a perceived separation for most of us. But when you can see that there is no gap there, there are not two things, reality and your perception of it or your will for it, they are one and the same. And if you'll accept that you can shape your perception, and you realize that they are one, then you've accepted that you can shape reality.